Today's delicious steak is marinated with jack threads. Hey world, I'm Dan Brown, and this is Delicious Steak. I received this email. Hey Dan, my name is Tom, YouTube name Bored British Guy, and I've recently discovered your YouTube videos and the world of vlogging. I've decided that I would like to start vlogging myself. Do you have any advice about how to get started in the world of YouTubing? Is that a word? YouTubing? Anyway, I would really appreciate any advice you would give, particularly involving what kind of camera/video recording thingamajigs you would recommend to film with. Muchas gracias from England, Tom. Well, hey Tom, thanks for the email. If you want to vlog, the first thing you have to do is figure out what you want to vlog about. Now, if you already have a good idea as to something you want to vlog about, do it. Don't delay. Don't feel like you have to save your good stuff. I have found that when I act on my best ideas, I typically come up with a few other good ideas in the process. If you don't have an idea though, don't worry. There are plenty of sources of inspiration out there. You can read the news, you can browse YouTube for a video discussion that's already started. Think about what your hobbies are. What are you good at? What could you talk about that you have an interesting perspective on? Are you in school? Have you had any interesting discussions in any of your classes recently? If you really try, you should be able to figure something out. And even if you're not confident that your idea is the best idea in the world, that doesn't really matter. I mean, let's be realistic. Your first video probably isn't going to be a masterpiece. So you shouldn't expect it to be. You shouldn't put that sort of crazy pressure on yourself. What matters is that you find what you're talking about to be interesting. If you find what you're talking about to be interesting, your audience, no matter what size, is going to pick up on that. Once you know what you want to talk about, it is time to start writing. I don't recommend just sitting in front of your camera and rambling. I mean, it can work, but I typically prefer to have a script. At the very least, I almost always have an outline. Planning what you're going to say in advance allows you to choose your words carefully. It allows you to make sure that you're saying what you actually mean to be saying, and it allows you to make sure that it's not going to take 20 minutes to say it. It's not always necessary though. Sometimes you want to go for a more candid feel, and that's fine. Just know what you're going for and act accordingly. Next, you have to find a place to make the vlog. A couple of things to consider here. One, to make things less awkward, you're probably going to want to be alone. And two, audio. You're going to want to avoid places that are distractingly noisy or distractingly echoey. Audio is more important than video. It doesn't matter a whole lot what your shot looks like. Just make sure your shot isn't backlit. Your light source should be behind your camera, not behind you. Once you have a topic, an outline, and a place to film, it's time to film. Now, the way I do it is one blurb at a time. I hit record, say my blurb, then stop recording. I do that like 30 times, and then I just cut the 30 clips together on my computer. Some vloggers prefer to just turn on their camera and talk. That way, instead of having 30 short clips to edit together, they just have one long one. Now, I've tried both methods. Personally, I prefer the former, but it doesn't really matter. Just pick one and go with it. Next is editing. Now, there's nothing I can say here that's going to suddenly magically teach you to edit vlogs well. That comes with practice. But I do have a few pointers. Know how to cut, know how to delete, know how to save, and for the love of God, know how to undo. The most important thing while editing is eliminating awkward pauses. You want your video to come across as a 4-minute stream of consciousness at a slightly faster than normal conversational pace. As a general rule, the less your audience sees you breathe, the better. As for equipment, if what you want to do is vlog, it really doesn't matter. You need a decent camera with discernible video and good audio, a tripod, and editing software that's at least as advanced as iMovie. Personally, I use a Canon Vixia HF20 to film and Final Cut Express to edit. If you want to get super fancy, the automotive section of your local Walmart should have these great little clippy lights for less than 10 bucks. Just bounce the light from these off of a plain white surface onto your beautiful face, and your beautiful face should be lit beautifully. So there you go, Tom. Hope that helps. And also, to answer your question, yes, YouTubing is most definitely a word. We all know that most guys hate shopping for clothes. Luckily, now there's JackThreads. JackThreads is a members-only online shopping club that does the dirty work for you and saves you a boatload of cash. Each day, JackThreads serves up the hottest brands at up to 80% off what you would pay in a store. Brands like Kid Robot, The Hundreds, and American Apparel for way less than you would find anywhere else. Now, JackThreads is a private club, but luckily, I've got the hookup. It's free to join. Just head on over to jackthreads.com/steak and you can become a member right away. I bet you guys think you are so clever moving your bishop here, taking my pawn, putting pressure on my queen. Well, you know what? You're not that clever. You know why? Because of this. Boom! Checkmate! The top YouTube comment on the last episode of Delicious Steak comes from YouTube username TheJepesk, who says, "There is one very obvious reason we will support Delicious Steak more than Dan 3.0. Dan 3.0 really just turned into you doing a bunch of stuff people asked for, but this is what I subscribed for back before 3.0. This is talk and discussion about important topics. This is what I think you should do, Dan. You re-earned my trust the moment you disbanded 3.0 and went back to your normal vlogging. This is really not much of anything else, and it's what I at least want to see." Well, thanks, guys. That really means a lot. I'm glad to have your support. Maybe the biggest lesson I've learned this last year is that not only do you guys like the topical stuff better, but from a creative standpoint, I like it better too. I'm glad to have tried the life casting thing, and having done it, I now have a lot more respect for the Shay Carls and the CTFXCs of the world. But the whole time I was doing it, I found myself longing for what I'd had before. I mean, is my life interesting? Yeah, I think so, but is it so interesting that it's worth giving up a community of thousands of smart kids who want to engage in interesting discussions just to document? No, it's not. In a way, I think it took me leaving this to realize just how cool the community we have here is. And my bet in making Delicious Steak is that it's not too late to capitalize on that. So again, to the Jepesk and the 82 others who gave their comment a thumbs up, I just want to thank you for your support.